these aren't just great guitars for the price. They're great guitars, period. Hello everyone, my name is Chris, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience over the last couple of weeks with this Yamaha PAC112J electric guitar. Now, I want to say a couple things right up front. One, this isn't going to be a thorough demo video where I go into the nitty-gritty of the specs and details and all those kinds of things. But I do want to talk a little bit about the guitar and my experience playing music on it, writing some music, making some videos, and just what I thought overall about this guitar. Second thing I wanted to say was this is not a sponsored video. This wasn't sent to me. This was a guitar that actually a family member lent me because we're out of town visiting family, and I wanted to be able to continue doing videos. So I called up my family member and asked him if he would be willing to let me borrow his guitar for a couple weeks while we've been out here, and he was more than happy to. And I've played this guitar before because they bought it before we moved out of the area, so I did get to play it here and there a couple years ago. But I'm super thankful, so thank you, dude, for letting me borrow it. So throughout this video, I'll show a few little riffs and songs using this guitar. So first off, my views of Yamaha guitars is very high. I think Yamaha makes some of the greatest guitars in the world. I used to own a Yamaha AEX502, which is a super cool semi-hollow guitar with P90 style pickups that they made probably a couple decades ago. And I picked one up used some years back and played that as one of my main guitars actually for a couple of years. And I also currently have a Yamaha FSTA acoustic guitar. It's got the really cool Yamaha trans acoustic features in it, and that guitar is actually featured on several of my last videos on my YouTube channel here. Love that acoustic guitar. It's a wonderful guitar, and that once I bought that became my main acoustic for the last couple of years. So really love Yamaha, and honestly every time I play a Yamaha I'm very pleased. I remember a couple of years ago I started looking into Yamaha Pacificas, and I remember one time I actually went to a guitar center and I purposely looked for one of the cheaper end Yamaha Pacificas, and I found one that was very much a beginner, and I picked it up and plugged it in and played it, and it played like a dream. So one of the things Yamaha is very known for is amazing quality control, not just at the high-end Japanese custom level, but throughout all of their levels. They're known for wonderful quality control. So even a beginner guitar is often going to be set up pretty nicely, or need not very much work to get it to be playing nicely. And so they're known for this. They've historically been this way. And so when I recommend guitars to people, especially if it's a first guitar, I'm going to recommend Yamaha, whether that's an acoustic or an electric. I would even recommend Yamaha for someone who's wanting a higher end guitar. Everything they make that I've experienced has been wonderful. So this model, the PAC112J, I did a quick internet search. They go for anywhere from $230 to $259 US dollars, I think is what I saw the range, but I found it in several places for $230. And that's an amazing deal for what you get with this guitar, because it's got an alder body, a maple neck, a rosewood fretboard. It's got a vintage style tremolo. It's got a humbucker in the bridge, 2 single coils, 5-way switch, volume and tone. It's got everything you need to play a wide range of musical styles. Do a little demo. Here's the humbucker. Here's the humbucker and middle pickup. Middle pickup. Middle pickup and neck pickup. And the neck pickup. Now, this model is not to be confused with the 112V, which has some upgrades to it. The 112V has a push-pull knob, Alnico pickups. Vintage tremolo has block saddles instead of these saddles that you have on here. I'm not sure what else is upgraded, but I know seems like it's about $100 more. That's got some higher specs if someone's interested in going that route. Still, $300 something for, in my opinion, a great spec guitar. I haven't played a 112V, but I'm assuming if it plays anything like this or better, then it's going to be a nice guitar. And then there's also a model called a PAC112, which is, from the price point, at least a step down from this. It's a little bit cheaper. And from what I read, the body is Agathis versus Alder. The tuners look different on the pictures that I saw, so there might be maybe some lower end specs on it, but from what I saw, still has good reviews and still looks like a great entry level guitar. So I'm not sure if there's too much else different between these two models, but this model here, I love it. This one's got the natural look on it. It reminds me of a Nuno Bettencourt guitar. So from my knowledge, my family member who owns this exact guitar, I don't think has done a setup to it. When I picked it up from him, I actually told him, hey, would you be okay if I lower the action a little bit? And he was fine with it. But honestly, I haven't felt the need to set it up, which really says a lot, because so often a cheaper guitar is going to be lacking in some of the things like adjusting the action or the truss rod or especially the fret ends. You run your fingers down the fret ends and you're scratching yourself or cutting yourself because they're so sharp. And they haven't been filed down. There hasn't been labor put into some of those extra things. But what's amazing is the fret ends feel very smooth on this. The action was plenty low enough for me to record a number of videos without feeling, oh, I really wish this action was lower. So that really speaks a lot into that quality for the price point. But of course, someone could always just give it a setup once you get it, and this thing will be playing like a dream in no time. And so, wonderful deal for what you're getting. I just want to slide this thought in here real quick. If I was going to own this guitar myself, the one upgrade I would probably want to do sooner than later would be to switch the tuners from the ones that they came with to locking tuners for two reasons. One, it's easier to change strings, it's faster, and two, I had a little bit of tuning issues only when I used the tremolo arm on this guitar. When I wasn't using the tremolo arm, I don't really recall any tuning issues, but when I was doing some whammy bar work, I noticed that it was a little hard to keep it in tune. So that was probably the thing that I thought, you know what, I would probably change this if I had this guitar myself. So I just wanted to throw that out there. What makes a great guitar? And I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments. What makes a great guitar? If someone says, oh, I have one of these guitars, that's a great guitar. A couple things that come to mind for me are playability. Are they comfortable? Another area, of course, is going to be things like hardware and pickups and how do they sound plugged into various amps or amp modelers or whatnot. Does it stay in tune? Some of the build quality, things like fret ends and how the inlays look. There's so many different factors that go into what make a great guitar. One of the areas that I think about the most when I think of a great guitar is, am I inspired when I play this guitar, or am I inspired to play the guitar because I love how it plays? So I think it's a huge one. If I buy a guitar and I think it's wonderful, but it stays in the case all the time, I never get it out because I don't really feel inspired to play it, then at least to me, it might not be so much a great guitar, or maybe it's a great guitar for someone else, but for me, it's not inspiring me to make music. And so that, for me, it really goes into that question when I think, okay, when I get a guitar, like, is this a great guitar for me? It needs to be something that inspires me to play it often. So I definitely think if I had one of these, I would probably play it a lot, which goes into why I would say this is a great guitar. I think another thing that's so interesting in the guitar world is even the psychology behind different brands, and you know, you're cool if you have this brand, or you've really stepped up your game if you buy from this brand, or you know, if you buy the one that's made in this country, it's higher end than this country, or you know, there's a lot of factors that go into how we view guitars, because I would imagine there's some subconscious biases that go into some of those thoughts, because you know, on a guitar that has, you know, just the pickups that come from the company versus a well-known pickup maker, we might think, well, they're not going to sound very good, but honestly, there are plenty of artists out there who are successful in the music industry who that I've read about, who are playing guitars that they found in a pawn shop, or guitars that were considered entry level 30, 40, 50 years ago, but are now sought after sounds, or guitars that were pieced together from junk parts and made into a Frankenstrat, so to speak. Love you, Eddie Van Halen. And you know, so there's a variety of artists that are playing guitars that we wouldn't think of as super duper high end, yet they're making these wonderful careers off these things. You know, so obviously some of these lower end guitars can work for some of the pros. And so I don't think it doesn't always have to be about, do I have all the name brand stuff when it comes to my guitar? It could sometimes simply just be, does this thing sound good? When I play it, when I record with it, does it sound good? And is it accomplishing the tone that I want for this song, or for this record, or for this project? And if it does, you know, who cares what the brand is? If it sounds good, plays good, and does the job, then that's exactly what the goal is, right? So it's just interesting to think through some of those things, because truthfully, I think these pickups sound amazing, and I think they're just the Yamaha brand pickups that come in these lower end guitars, and the guitar plays really nicely. So to me, I think, you know, if it's accomplishing the musical goal that I have, and if it's inspiring me to play more and record more, then I'm happy with it. And that's an area where I've grown and learned to be much more excited about any range of guitars, because if it sounds good, it sounds good, and that's awesome. And I think I'm seeing a shift in this online, where people are much more willing to give more affordable guitars a shot. Not just a shot as like a bedroom guitar, but a shot as a guitar that you'll record with, and that you'll tour with, or you'll play gigs with. Because I think so many guitar brands are making high-end guitars now for really affordable, and they're completely usable, and they're not just gimmicky, but they're usable, they're functional, they're professional in quality. And so I think I've seen a shift there, and definitely within myself too. When I was younger, you know, I wanted to own guitars from these Titan companies, you know, these humongous companies that had the really high-end guitars. And sure, I still would want one of those guitars, or some of those guitars, and I even have a few guitars that I would consider higher end. But I know even within myself, I've seen a shift where I'm desiring to play guitars now in the $200, $300, $400, $500 range, because I'm reading or experiencing firsthand that they play and sound great, and that I'm inspired when I play them. So I think there's a shift there. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments on if you agree with me. And I just think it's been cool to see that there are different companies that are really putting so much pride into their craftsmanship, even in their lower end guitars, which I think is really special for beginners who, especially if they don't have a lot of money spent on a guitar, you can buy a guitar that will last you a very long time and through various stages of your playing for not very much money, which is just a really cool thing. I think it's making music and high level music so much more accessible to people of all different walks of life. So pretty awesome. And those are some of my thoughts on even just how we think about guitars and how we approach different brands and whatnot. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to make. So I think Yamaha totally nails it with these less expensive Pacifica models. And I'd love to try some of their higher end models. I know they have the 611 and 612 in that range. They're kind of in the $600-700 range. I'd love to give those a try sometime. I don't think I've played any of those before, but I've played a few of their different more entry-level models and have been very pleased with I think every one of them that I've played to my memory. So hope you enjoyed this video. Love to hear your thoughts on Yamaha's budget-friendly guitars, and I hope they're the same thoughts as mine, that they're a great guitar not only for the price. That's what's so cool. These aren't just great guitars for the price. They're great guitars, period. And so I hope that you share that same thought and would love to hear your experience with them down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.